And good day, everybody, and welcome to High Heat Inside Edition. It's nice to have with us Moses Messina, Mitch Green, Liberty Mutual, you and me now as we get ready. And Travis Ishikawa Day on the network. Of course, that Cardinal Giant Game 5 airing, and we have fun with that with our good buddy, Mr. Duane Kuiper. We all know about my bobblehead doll, the only bobblehead doll I have at Sirius XM there in New York City. When we do High Heat, it's his because he's my favorite. It's out of here. And he says hello. Kuip, how are you today, pal?
Good. Good. You know, I always get the impression that you put that bobblehead out when I come on, like maybe you put your mother-in-law's picture on the piano when she's pulling in the driveway. That's what I
Funny, I don't do that. People don't realize when I was in San Francisco for that Super Bowl about 4 or 5 years ago, who came to a godforsaken studio in the middle of nowhere on a Friday morning with his brother? This man right here.
Yeah,
he's a good guy. It's good to have you with us, Kuip. Listen, you must be dying. Want a little baseball. Maybe we're going to get it down the road. Tell me what you've been up to here these last 3 months. A little baseball withdrawal from you? Let me hear.
Yes. You know, look, I've been involved in professional baseball since 1972. So that means October, if you're not in postseason, October, November, December, January, February, you know how to kill those 4 or 5 months, right?
Right.
But after that, I don't know how to do it. I don't. I mean, the weather's beautiful. You know, you could go outside in your backyard and things are normal. But you turn on the TV and they're not normal. So this has been really hard. And, you know, you can play golf. You know, you do all those things. But the bottom line is you have to play by the rules. And if you play by the rules, that's mean you're not doing a whole lot of stuff.
And so for 48 years, baseball in the spring has been part of your blood. Did you ever take a year off where you didn't get involved in a sport for that in transition between broadcasting and your playing career? Was there a year or two where you didn't have anything to do baseball-wise in the spring?
No, you know, the year after I stopped playing, the Indians invited me to spring training the next year as a minor league instructor. And it was great because I found out that I was a horrible instructor. I could turn a double play. I just couldn't teach anybody how to turn a double play. Coincidentally, the Giants started their own network that very same spring, and they asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, and that's how I got started.
On 30 years doing that, how are you going to adapt here if we get a season at 82 games, roughly? There'll be a lot of ball games in a short period of time, Kuip, a lot of work. We're all going to be excited for it, but there's going to be some double headers. There's going to be all sorts of interesting little wrinkles. Have you thought about that for a sec? Let me hear.
Well, I think the first thing, Chris, is I think we're all ready to do anything we can, and whatever the rules are, you know, let's do it. And you know, we've heard that it's probable that the local broadcasters won't travel, that, you know, we'll do the games probably in our broadcast booth in San Francisco, but we'll be doing them off a monitor.
Right.
Now, it's going to be unusual to do it that way, but let's do it. Let's get this thing going and let's do it. So we know it's going to be different. It'll be harder for the guys that do radio to do these games off a monitor. But in our case, we got Dave Fleming, John Miller. They're so talented, they'll be able to pull it off. What I don't want to have happen is that these guys, they do it so well that down the road, somebody starts to think, you know what? We can save some money by not sending those guys on the road. That would be a problem for me.
I think you're going to see that with a lot of businesses working from home, not going into the office. I mean, I think there's something to it. I'll tell you one thing I've learned, Kuip, you know, and I'm a little younger than you, but I don't want to retire. I mean, I'm in board staff. There's only so much golf and tennis that I can play. Now, you were not necessarily at a retirement age, but you could call it quits anytime you want. I'm curious if this gap here of not doing baseball has made you appreciate I might as well do this until they kick me off the air. How about that for a sec?
Well, I was going to make them kick me off the air whether we went through this or not. I think, you know, what's happened over the years now is we've seen broadcasters that as they get a little bit older, like I am, they start to realize that maybe if they start to take a few days off, that they can handle the trips, you know, and the hotels, they can handle it a lot easier. I mean, the only thing that I'd be willing to do is maybe take a few more games off. But I don't want to stop doing this. It's the greatest job in the world. Why in the world would anybody want to stop doing this?
in a great city with a great park. Now,
Yeah.
if the Giants are sort of in a rebuilding mode, but now the shorter season with some veteran players, it maybe makes their goals a little different. What's your take on how they're handling an 82-game season as far as maybe trying to actually go out there and make a postseason if there's added teams and all those things? Over 162, we know the Giants are in a transitional phase. Maybe
Right.
it changes some if it's 82. Let me get your take on that.
Well, I think a lot of it will depend upon what kind of start you get off to. If you get off to a start where it looks like you have a shot, then maybe your philosophy changes. I do know this, that if what we're reading about the rosters, where you're going to have 30 active, 20 on the shelf, I do think that in the Giants' case, those 20 guys, 10 of them might be their best prospects. Guys that should not be in the big leagues, but they're going to put them in this position where they at least have something to do. I mean, these prospects are sitting out a full year if you don't do something with them.
Right.
And I think the Giants will add a bunch of those guys to that 50-man squad.
I'm with you on that. I think teams will do that. Ishikawa Day here, of course, on the MLB Network. I love the walk that he got in 2010 against Atlanta in Game 3. It's a very unheralded walk, which set up the Giants winning that series. As a matter of fact, I was at spring training once about 5 years ago, and he was on the Orioles, and I asked the Oriole PR guy, can I get Ishikawa? He said, what the heck do you want Ishikawa for? Because I got to talk to him about that. I said, I got to talk to him about that walk. That's how important that walk was. But then he hit the more dramatic home run. I think the Giants were going to win that series anyway in Game 5, but you were there in the microphone. He hit the bomb in the bottom of the ninth. Give me some thoughts on that call. Giants win the pennant with that blast there against Michael Walker in St. Louis. Go ahead.
Yeah, John had the call on radio. Of course, we couldn't televise because of it's a nationally televised game.
Right.
But I thought he had a great call. I think he said something like, for the win and for the pennant. And it grabbed me because here was the unlikely hero. He'd actually made a mistake in left field to give the Cardinals the lead earlier in the game. And he probably shouldn't have been on the field at all. Giants just didn't have a left fielder. And Bruce Bochy took a gamble on him. There was also some thought that because the game was tight, that maybe Bochy would take him out of the game late to put somebody else. I think it may be Juan Perez, who was a much better defensive player. But Bochy gave him that last shot, and boy, did he take advantage of it. I know there's some people around town here that think in San Francisco Giants history, that's number one on their list as far as home runs. Wow.
I'd have to think about that a little bit. Is it on your list, number one?
You know what? There's a few. Barry's 756 is on the list, but I don't think that's number one. It could be Ishikawa's. It could be Buster Posey's against Cincinnati in 2012.
The grand slam that got us, which was a classic, and the Giants had to hold on for dear life with Sergio Romo. I think he got Jay Bruce out in the ninth inning with a couple of guys on base.
13 pitches.
13. What an at bat. Bruce did a good job of that at bat and fly to left field. I'll tell you though, Kipe, that Ishikawa walk, you remember it in the ninth inning. That's a huge walk. And the Giants may have not won that series against Atlanta in 2010. Remember, they had not won a World Championship yet. Right. That's a very unheralded walk by Ishikawa there.
It's really funny is yesterday up early on Twitter, and somebody tweeted that last inning out where the Giants were, they were one strike away. I mean, Freddie Chances was down no balls and two strikes after the Ishikawa walk. So I had a chance to watch that inning, and it was fascinating because, you don't know what happens. If they don't win that game, the Braves are up 2-1. They got another game at home. So, but Ishikawa's at bat. He fouled off some pitches. Kimbrel was dealing. He was the young Kimbrel. The guy that just threw the ball 100 miles an hour. It was a great at bat.
It was. Well, we miss you, Kipe. You're the best. The bobblehead doll will stay. And I will hear some out of here is hopefully in July. Always a pleasure. Happy birthday, by the way, if we don't hear from you before. I know June 19th. A big birthday for you. Happy birthday there, too. Always a pleasure to talk, pal. Appreciate it.
I remember when my dad turned 70, Chris, and I thought he was old.
Oh, I'm 60. Don't say that.
Please. Oh, you're old, too. See ya.
See you later. Duane
got
Kuiper,
it.
great job. Moses Messina and our good buddy today, Doug Jacklin today. And of course, let's not forget Mitch Green. High Heat. Great to have you with us. Liberty Mutual. Adios. Always a pleasure, Kite. Good job.
You're the best.